And they're off. Racing away 7 furlongs for the FOLKSong Stakes. This Group 2 audience in red, white and blue strides out with Indestructible for company wider out in those violet silks. Between the pair of them, the gold sleeves, the red cap of Isaac Shelby. After that leading trio, Kinross settles down behind the pace in a handy fourth. Holguin is very keen on terms there with Kinross around the opening bend. Marban is at the back as they race their way towards the final 5 furlongs, and out in front, Audience under Rab Havlin leads from Isaac Shelby. Kinross covered up to the inside, Indestructible a little deeper. Still between those horses then is Holguin in the black and yellow. Marban is still last of them as they run up the home straight and approaching the final 3 furlongs shortly. And out in front, it's Audience from Isaac Shelby is held together. Kinross, Frankie looking for that cutaway point, which is coming up shortly with just inside 2 furlongs to go when that cutaway drops away with Indestructible ridden. Then came Holguin and Marban. They race now inside the final furlong and a half. Isaac Shelby joining in with Audience. Kinross every chance over toward the far side. Then Holguin and Indestructible. They're racing toward the final furlong. Kinross has now moved up with Isaac Shelby as they'll battle it out inside the final half. Kinross by a half a length from Isaac Shelby, who's responding well, but it's Kinross again in the Lennox. It's Kinross to take it. Kinross from Isaac Shelby in second, Marban in third, then Holguin, Indestructible and Audience.
Kinross, you fancy, was always holding Isaac Shelby. The runner-ups run a great race. The pair are clear. Repeated success of 2021 for Race Beeckett, who's gone close in so many big races of late. And Frankie Dettori is back with group race success at Glorious Goodwood today with Courage Mon Ami to come. Courage Mon Ami will run in the colours of the runner-up here, Watnan Racing. Marban has come from the back to finish third ahead of Holguin, Indestructible, and Audience is last of the 6 for the Gosdens. The winner, 11 to 10 on, Kinross. 7 furlongs, soft ground, no problem. What could have been a problem was race positioning as he was locked up in a little bit of a pocket, but the cutaways helped here.
The cutaway, the saviour, wasn't it, for those who ploughed into him at short prices? And, you know, cool as cucumber, wasn't he, Frankie Dettori? Just took a nice draft into the race. Once the gap appeared, he was like a rat of a drain pipe. Shot there. And any worry that we had perhaps that was slower ground over there, perhaps Kinross has won in spite of that. Brilliant run from Isaac Shelby, who sat in the perfect posse all the way. I thought Sean Levy rode him beautifully. Kept the door locked on Frankie Dettori till the cutaway appeared, and then he's gone again all the way to the line.
Yeah,
he
just
still
came back late, didn't he?
You know, he's still finding there. He's only beaten the neck, and Marban picked up some pieces in third.
You watch Isaac Shelby today and you think, oh, back up to a mile, but at a mile you think, well, is he just found wanting, or is it class of horse he's been running at that's
quite
made
possibly
him seem find wanting at a mile? He just bobbled coming out of the stalls, but he was on an even
I
keel.
don't think I'm going to use that race at Royal Ascot to define him, really, the St James's Palace. I think he's worth another try at a mile, certainly. I mean, obviously the French Guineas performance was a very solid one, and I think, you know, given the right race and the right circumstances, I think a mile is still well within his compass. They've obviously, you know, slung along at a reasonable gallop under Audience. Sean Levy sat handy, kept Frankie in the pocket. Oisin Murphy's tried to do the same, and Kevin Stott has just made sure that there's no way Frankie's going to get an out from underneath those horses in front of him.
Just a second victory in the Lennox Stakes for Frankie Dettori, a relatively new race, only established in Millennium Year to replace the now defunct Beeswing Stakes at Newcastle in the pattern. And Frankie Dettori won it just the once. Can you remember who he won it on?
Oh.
I've mentioned the horse's name already today, quite recently. I heard Lydia shouting Ifraj from the cheap seats. She's spot on. Ifraj it was, way back when Frankie Dettori won this race before. It's the second victory in the Lennox for him.
9th career win on Kinross as well for Frankie Dettori, isn't it? No, sorry, fifth from 9 starts. Apologies.
He's just a thoroughly honourable and likeable horse, isn't he?
A lovely horse, isn't he? Fantastic horse, and good advertisement for keeping these horses in training, you know, through the 4th, 5th and 6th years of their career. And he's going to have a nice plan mapped out for him for the rest of the year as well, which will probably follow much in the lines of last year's.
And given that he's gelded, he'll just keep going.
Yeah, and you know, if it continues to rain, look, it doesn't really matter to him, does it? He ended up in America on fast ground, so you know, his well-being and the way that Frankie rides him, I think they've got great synergy, the two of them, and you can see that from his strike rate aboard him. The crowd have got what they wanted.
Yeah, ran a terrific race at Keeneland, this horse, in the Breeders' Cup Mile behind Modern Games. And as you can probably hear and see now, Frankie Dettori is delighting the crowd at Goodwood. Whether Race Beckett would be tempted to go to Santa Anita, where you're not going to get a particularly forgiving turf surface. You know, if the ground's quick at Keeneland, you might just get a little bit of cushion. You're not going to get much in the way of cushion in California, but I would imagine races that he did run really well in last year, like the Foray and like the Champion Sprint at Ascot, are going to be on his agenda again.
Yeah, absolutely. Longchamp
and the Park Stakes.
Yeah, Longchamp 101, wouldn't it? You'd think. Most definitely.
City of York as well will be in there as well. That's a huge pot this year, the City of York. So loads to go at. A reminder that this horse, Kinross, he was second beaten a neck by Sandrine in this race last year, and then banged out a rapid four-timer on all different types of ground.
Brilliant training performance as well, isn't it? To keep an old boy like this sweet and happy and enthusiastic, and you know, obviously Frankie Dettori makes sure that he doesn't go to the well with him during his races either, and they've just developed such a great relationship in the last 2 years, I would say, that you know that's kept a bit of longevity for him.
Kinross, good horse, wins the Lennox Stakes once again for Frankie Dettori, and Race Beckett in the colours of Mark Chan, and does so at prohibitive odds, but you won't feel that way if you kept the faith, Tom.
Absolutely, Nick, and there were plenty of supporters of the classy Kinross, who very much shows his talent there in the Lennox Stakes, doesn't he? And I think the 7 furlong route rather maps itself out for the rest of the season. Park Stakes, and of course the Sky Bet City of York Stakes, and then possibly another crack at the Prix de la Forêt, which Kinross won last year. Today, though, he won the Lennox, 10-11 favourite returning Frankie Dettori and Rafe Beckett for owner Mark Chan. Second was Isaac Shelby at 5-2, and neck was the winning distance. And the winning time, 1:28.75, 4.45 seconds above standard. Let's have a look back at this in the company of Dave Nevison. A really nice performance, this, from the winner and also the runner-up too.
Yeah, let's get the runner-up over with. He's run a really good race, Isaac Shelby, and represented the 3-year-olds well. But I think this was almost a bit of an exhibition ride for Frankie Dettori. He did everything right from a one draw, which can be difficult, but Frankie was fully aware of where the cutaway was going to come and where he was going to take things up with Kinross. And the old boy, well, the couple of old boys, I don't think you can say that about Dettori in his retiring year, have just got the job done. They know he's got the track craft right, the horse has got the track craft right, and he's any time that Sean Levy and Isaac Shelby went for him, he just pulled out a little bit more. I just think it was an exemplary performance, and I don't think the odds were prohibitive once it was down to the field size that it was, and once you sort of worked it out that he's a sort of Group 1.5 horse over here, but a Group 2 race like this, just absolutely perfect for him. 7 furlong trip, easy ground. Even money. You know, there were 3 or 4 horses who you couldn't really fancy in the race. Isaac Shelby came out of the pack. He was a clear second favourite in the market. He was a worthwhile challenger, but he was never, ever going to get past him. Absolutely, yeah. Great race to watch. Kinross does the business. Really good performance there in the Lennox Stakes at Goodwood. Right, let's get back to Nick Luck at Goodwood.
Michael Verstappen from the Hong Kong Jockey Club and Alex Frost, Chief Executive of Tote UK, join me on what is one of the Whirlpool days here at the Qatar Goodwood Fest. So, Michael, we hear an awful lot about Whirlpool, we talk about Whirlpool, we publicise it. There will be people perhaps who still don't actually know what it is.
Thanks, Nick. So Whirlpool is when we aggregate the tote operators from around the world, commingle, we call it, into one giant pool, a bit like the Euro Millions, where everyone coming in to create a super jackpot. It's 30 countries at the moment, and it's liquidity which is good for customers, better prices, deeper markets, more exotic markets, and ultimately good for racing as we return to customers, or to grassroots racing via the courses.
And how is Hong Kong the engine of this?
So Hong Kong will pool all the betting together. It'll all be matched in Hong Kong from around the world. We provide a lot of the liquidity and also the technical operations behind it. So it's a partnership, but we kind of host it and organise it for everybody.
Now, Alex clearly is the Chief Executive of the UK Tote. You're going to be evangelical about the benefits of pari-mutuel betting versus fixed odds betting. What about Whirlpool betting? Why is it beneficial, do you think, in and of itself for the punter?
Yeah, well, I think to Michael's point, the liquidity is a big difference. I think punters right now are struggling to get on, in good size, so that in itself is very interesting. I think punters in Hong Kong take a very different view to what they take over here. They're obsessed by Ryan Moore, Holly Doyle. Hopefully Vincent Ho would have brought a few bits of interest today. So it's just a very, very diverse offer, which I think is attractive to all customers, really, to at least consider.
And you take 30 territories at the moment, Michael, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And plans to expand. We started 5 years ago with 2, really, and we've grown steadily. We've added new territories for racing this year, like Saudi Arabia, but we bet in South Africa, United States, all around the country. So we grow every year as it gains popularity with new partners.
And in terms of the benefit to British racing, we've talked about the benefits of the punter, but in terms of the benefit to British racing as a whole, can you quantify that, Alex?
It's best done through prize money. So this week, you're seeing Google put an extra 800,000 into prize money. York is the same. So, from a grassroots perspective, this is all coming down through into racing. So, and as Michael says, it's only just the beginning. It's very, very exciting what can be achieved going forward for the sport.
And you've already had a little bit of that prize money back yourself today, haven't you?
It's very, very rare.
I see what you did there. I see what you did. Mansa Musa, the winner of the first race. You have a share of second race, sorry.
Yeah, no, we got a share. We spent a long time trying to sell him, so we're now very happy to have a leg still with us. So, yeah, no, and Vincent Ho was meant to ride him.
What a shame.
What a shame, but, he's recovering well, I hear. Broken ribs and a horrible fall in Japan on Saturday, but that's what we're trying to do with the Whirlpool. We're trying to bring a much more international audience to the sport, much like football and other big global sports. We feel racing kind of really sits very well when you've got an international participation and an international audience with it.
And you're obviously continuing to try and evolve it and to drive it forward. Can you be specific about that, Michael, in terms of what you're planning in the next 12, 24 months?
Well, it's on several different layers. There's going to be more product. We're developing new technology so we can surface better product to the betting customers in terms of expanding the Whirlpool. What will that season look like? We're working hard with the racetracks to evolve the season, to put a bit more of a structure on what we're offering so customers can understand how racing works and really just bringing customers globally to a sort of common understanding of how racing works and bring it where it should be, up along with Formula One or golf or any of those other major sports.
And you've got the perfect platform really to understand what big spending Hong Kong punters like in a foreign card. Are you getting a pretty good idea of that now?
Well, the Hong Kong customers know UK racing well and are familiar with it. I think we have 300,000 people in Hong Kong watching this today. So it's incredibly popular. But as we add more territories, it's about bringing consistency to your customer. Getting used to the life cycle of data, the life cycle of form. Speed maps are consistent with what they see in Hong Kong. They like familiarity. They like the horses and the owners and the jockeys they know. But it's they're evolving all the time. I wouldn't second guess them.
Well, lovely to see you here today. I hope you enjoy the week. Michael, thanks so much. Alex, congratulations earlier. Thank you as well.
Thanks, Dick.
Frankie Dettori has won on Kinross, his second success on the horse in this race.
No, I didn't ride him.
Did you not ride him the first time? Who rode him the first time?
I got beat on him just last year. I think Rob rode him.
Rob, okay, apologies, but Kinross has won his second race of this.
He did
It's his third win since his enforced pause.
Yes.
Congratulations. Were you worried that last year was going to happen all over again in that race?
No, because I was in the slingshot, and as soon as the cutaway went, I kicked him in there. Once I put my head in, I was fine.
Okay.
And then, in fairness, Sean gave me a good fight, but he's super tough, this fella, and I knew it wasn't going to stop.
It was a good fight with Isaac
Yeah.
Shelby. Did it surprise you slightly?
It was surprising because I couldn't shake him off, and I wasn't slowing down. And I think we pulled a bit clear of the third, so we were really quick in the last bit.
And does he feel right back to the top of his game because he's been working back to it this season?
Yes, look, it goes without saying he's much better on soft ground, but he can go on anything. He's barely soft today. I would say slow side of good. I prefer more rain for him, but 7 furlong to me is his ultimate distance. But he can run an easy mile like he did in the Breeders' Cup, or very stiff 6 furlong get Ascot on heavy ground. So he has the same options as last year, but I think the ultimate target, Mark wants him to run him in Hong Kong in the mile in December, so I promised and I'll carry on a bit longer until then.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay, good, okay. I like that a lot. He's a brilliant horse.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you know, they gelded him, and it wasn't a very expensive purchase. He flopped a few times when they bought him, but I think Rafe got the hang of him and changed his training a bit, and it's been a revelation. I mean, I can't say enough praises for the horse. It's my ATM machine. It brings me a few thousands every year, and I'm forever grateful to him.
Next race, Courage Mon Ami in the Goodwood Cup. If you win it, you become the winning most jockey of the race.
I haven't won it yet, so let's not talk about it.
But
yes.
This horse is trying some cutting the ground for the first time. Yes. Do you think that'll be fine?
The ground is not as bad as I thought. You know, this is barely good to soft, so I think we should be fine. But until we try, we don't know. It's not firm or Ascot, but yeah, I mean, look, he's favourite. He's won the Gold Cup, and he's entitled to be favourite. He's racing against the same horses, but he's half a furlong shorter. And look, it'll be interesting. And you know, I'm there, and I'm going to give it a good go. The
key thing about him, though, is that he won the Ascot Gold Cup on his 4th ever start.
And exactly. I mean, I couldn't see it happen. John did, and I must say, he surprised me when he did, because I thought, no, for the horse was around 3 times to win a Gold Cup is unheard of, but he did it. Well done, John.
Well, very best of luck on a quick-fire group race double.
Fingers crossed.
And there goes Frankie off into the change room to get ready to ride. Courage Mon Ami in the big race of the afternoon, the Goodwood Cup, Group 1. We'll be changing his silks, and not too long to wait now.